A minister preaching faith and trust, but behind closed doors, a trail of death and deception. When two wives and a troubled congregant meet untimely ends, suspicion falls on the man who claimed to guide them toward salvation. What's ahead? Welcome to TheCrime329. Today, we'll be looking at the case of A.B. Schirmer. But before that, please consider subscribing if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel. Now, let's get into the breathtaking case. Today, we are delving into the chilling case of the deaths surrounding Arthur Burton Schirmer, or A.B. as most knew him, a man who wore the cloak of a pastor while concealing dark and deadly secrets. Known as the sinister minister, A.B. Schirmer was either an unlucky man who lost two wives through tragic accidents, or a killer who almost got away with murder, if not for an unexpected event no one saw coming. Jackson Township in Monroe County is located in the Pocono Mountains in Pennsylvania. At the intersection of PA Route 715 and Church Road sits Readers United Methodist Church, a beautiful white steeple building with vibrant red doors that offer fellowship and service to those seeking spiritual guidance. One such man was Joseph Masante, a carpenter who struggled with alcoholism and had sought out A.B. Schirmer for support. Joseph's wife, Cindy, was also a congregant of Readers United Methodist Church and A.B.'s secretary, personal assistant at the time. While working through his issues with Pastor Schirmer, Joseph helped with construction jobs around the church as he was a carpenter by trade. He even built a desk for A.B. that he used in the church office. Pastor Schirmer had been counseling with both Joseph and Cindy, who had been married 18 years and had 2 children. But that assistance would end in October 2008 when Joseph Masante was found dead sitting behind the very desk he had built. Joseph died of a single gunshot wound to his head. What would cause Joseph to take his own life? Was his alcohol addiction too overwhelming, or did something else drive him to it? Rose Cobb was Joseph's sister, and when she learned of her brother's death, she traveled to Readers to be with her family. When she arrived, she felt that something was off as no one was around offering comfort and condolences to the family. She questioned Cindy as to why that was, and that is when Cindy told her that she had fallen in love with her boss, A.B. Schirmer, who had lost his second wife, Betty Jean Schirmer, 3 months prior in a car accident. Cindy relayed what A.B. told her about a deer running out in front of the car he was driving while taking Betty to the hospital for jaw pain. Pastor A.B. Schirmer, a charismatic preacher with a magnetic presence, had served at several United Methodist churches in Pennsylvania before moving to Readers in 2001 with his second wife, Betty. His first wife, Jewel, had died in 1999 from an alleged fall down the stairs. Betty, a kind and generous woman, was deeply involved in church and community work before her sudden death in 2008. Rose Cobb grew suspicious of A.B. when she learned that both his wives had died in accidents. Adding to her concern was Joseph Masante's suicide, which Rose suspected was linked to A.B.'s affair with Joseph's wife, Cindy. Joseph had sought A.B.'s guidance during his marital struggles, unaware of the affair. His daughter, Samantha, had discovered the relationship and tried to stop it, but A.B. confronted her, denying the accusations. The day before Joseph's suicide, Cindy ignored his desperate calls, and Samantha received a heartbreaking voicemail from her father. After Joseph's death, Rose reported A.B. and Cindy's affair to church authorities and the police. Detective Jim Wagner began investigating, suspecting foul play. However, Pennsylvania State Police concluded that Joseph's death was a suicide, citing blood spatter and glass evidence. Despite this, Rose and Wagner remained uneasy about the string of deaths connected to Pastor Schirmer. Detective Wagner remained suspicious of the deaths of A.B.'s 2 wives, both labeled as accidents 9 years apart. His focus shifted to Betty Jean Schirmer, who died 3 months before Joseph Masante's suicide after a car crash that initially raised no alarms. On July 15, 2008, Stan Dickerson found A.B.'s PT Cruiser against a guardrail. A.B. claimed he was fine but feared for his wife, Betty, who was unconscious and bleeding heavily. Dickerson called 911, and Betty was rushed to the hospital with multiple skull fractures. She passed away on July 16th. At the scene, Officer Gupko took photos, but no foul play was suspected, and Betty's death was ruled an accident. A.B. told the coroner they were traveling over 50 miles per hour when a deer caused them to swerve, hitting a guardrail twice. He claimed Betty, unbuckled, was flung around the car, striking the windshield, mirror, and seatbelt post. A.B. gave varying reasons for Betty not wearing her seatbelt, which shocked her family as she was known to be safety conscious. Detective Wagner found inconsistencies. Betty's head injury didn't align with the minor damage to the car, and there were no skid marks despite A.B.'s claim of losing control. Bloodstains on the passenger seat suggested Betty might have been sitting upright, making Wagner question the true events leading to her death. Detective Wagner, investigating A.B., looked into the 1999 death of his first wife, Jewel Schirmer, who allegedly fell down the basement stairs while vacuuming. A.B.'s calm demeanor and dry clothes, despite claiming to have just jogged in the rain, raised suspicions. EMTs found A.B. hard to locate as they transported Jewel to the hospital, and it later emerged that he stayed home to clean the bloody basement while she was on life support. Forensic pathologist Dr. Wayne Ross discovered Jewel had no heart disease, contrary to initial assumptions. Instead, she had 14 severe head injuries, including 2 linear skull tears, but no injuries consistent with a fall. Dr. Ross classified her death as undetermined and urged further investigation, but none occurred until Detective Wagner reopened the case 9 years later. In 2001, after remarrying Betty, A.B. moved to Monroe County to serve as pastor. In December 2008, following Betty's suspicious death, Detective Wagner secured a search warrant for the parsonage. Investigators found blood in the garage, leading to a large pool of blood that had been cleaned up. DNA tests confirmed the blood belonged to Betty, suggesting she had been assaulted before being placed in the car. When questioned, A.B. denied that Betty had bled in the garage, later claiming they were cut while moving wood, though the woodpile was dated 2 months after Betty's death. During a 6-hour police interview, A.B. admitted he didn't call 911 after the crash, despite having a cell phone. A year after Betty's death, A.B. was still with Cindy and had moved into her home. On Samantha's 18th birthday, she moved out, and by summer 2010, a text from her mother worried Samantha about Cindy's safety. A.B. had given Cindy an engagement ring, prompting Samantha to contact the police, knowing the fate of A.B.'s previous wives. Authorities had been investigating for 2 years, and on July 8, 2010, forensic experts Dr. Samuel Land and Scott Grime reviewed the evidence, and concluding that Betty's injuries weren't from a car crash. Her death certificate was changed from accidental to murder. Detective Wendy Surface felt it was only a matter of time before A.B. posed a danger to Cindy. In September 2010, just weeks after A.B.'s proposal, he was arrested for Betty's murder. At a grand jury later that month, key witnesses testified. Paramedic Margot Warner noted that Betty's head injuries didn't align with the minimal damage to the car. Dr. Wayne Ross, who had examined Jewel Schirmer's autopsy years earlier, reviewed Betty's medical records and noted the similarity. Both women had traumatic brain injuries and right-side head lacerations. He conducted tests and found that Jewel's injuries couldn't have been from a fall, determining she had been struck with a cylindrical object like a crowbar. Dr. Ross changed Jewel's death certificate from undetermined to homicide, concluding both women had died under suspiciously similar circumstances. Police Corporal Douglas Shook testified that the Schirmer vehicle was moving under 25 miles per hour when it crashed, far slower than A.B.'s claims of 45 to 55 miles per hour. He found no evidence or signs of an avoidance maneuver or sufficient damage to cause a fatal injury, a conclusion supported by Penn State's Crash Safety and Research Center, which placed the speed between 18 and 22 miles per hour. After Lebanon authorities were alerted about Jewel Schirmer's suspicious death, her brother testified that she had believed A.B. was cheating on her. In September 2012, AB, already in custody, was indicted for Jewel's murder. Jewel had been an active music teacher, choir director, and mother of 3. Following a complaint in 2008, AB surrendered his ministerial credentials but continued ministering. In 2009, he joined the evangelical singing group Beroean and took a job as program director for the Lebanon Elm Street program before his 2010 arrest. In AB's 2013 trial for Betty's murder, the prosecution labeled him the sinister minister, presenting evidence of blood in the garage, blood-soaked car seats, and undisturbed coins in the vehicle after what was supposed to be a high-speed crash. Their theory: AB had beaten Betty in the garage with a blunt object, staged a low-speed crash, and tried to cover up the crime. At trial, a key detail emerged. Joseph Masante called Reverend Bronwyn Yoakum, AB's supervisor, on October 28, 2008, accusing AB of having an affair with his wife, Cindy. Yoakum arranged for Masante to file a formal complaint, but he tragically took his life hours later, never making the appointment. Another witness, a woman AB was counseling, testified about a conversation in which AB expressed reluctance to divorce his wife, Betty, fearing he'd lose half of everything. This raised questions about his motives. Jewel Schirmer's brother, John Benny, also testified, recalling how he doubted his sister's death was from a fall, especially after seeing her injuries. He alerted authorities, prompting an autopsy, which led to AB's murder charge. AB took the stand in his defense, sticking to his version of events. Despite his calm demeanor, the jury found him guilty of first-degree murder and evidence tampering. He was sentenced to life without parole. In October 2010, AB was charged with the murder of his first wife, Jewel. A year later, he struck a deal, pleading no contest to third-degree murder to avoid another trial, claiming he wanted to spare his family. AB maintained his innocence, but not everyone believed him. Jewel's brother labeled AB as evil. AB received an additional 20 to 40 years to be served consecutively to his life sentence. What's your opinion on this case? I would like to know your view on this case in the comment section. Till then, take care and keep watching The Crime 329.